Greetings. I wanted to talk to you a little bit today about tarot journaling. I think there's a lot of ideas about tarot journaling out there. I think there's a lot of people that use journaling and tarot combined for different reasons. And I just wanted to go over a few of the different ways you might want to consider using journaling, tarot journaling, as a part of your practice, as a part of your life. Actually, whether you are an experienced tarot reader or not, it can be very beneficial to you for a lot of different reasons. So I just wanted to talk to you about, I think I have maybe 4 or 5 ways that I want to share that with you and go through them and what I like about each idea and how I've used each idea if I have, etc. So let's start at the very, very beginning and say that I think the majority of people who are beginning a practice of tarot journaling are people who are just trying to use journaling as a way to learn their cards, to get to know their cards better, to maybe to develop their reading skills. A lot of people do that, and a lot of sites suggest you do that. When you get a card, here I have the Green Woman from the Wildwood Tarot. What do we know about the Green Woman? Well, we might want to use this as a prompt for journaling, okay? So we might want to talk a little bit about what we find. We might journal about the meaning of the card, and then maybe how that card might show up in your life. Maybe how it might translate to different personal situations you might be in, etc. So that's sort of one way to do it, whether you choose cards randomly or not. And I'm going to show you how I have here my first ever bullet journal from 2019 when I first got the idea that I wanted to put all my stuff into one book, into a bullet journal, and what I did. So I'm just going to move my camera for a second and show you what I did to try to work journaling into my one card draws. Okay, this is my 2019 bullet journal. It's really well loved and well worn, and this is actually the first of 3 I did for the year. And I really went into a lot. I went into a lot of detail in this journal. I thought I was going to put everything in one place in the journal, and I have I did this daily draw tracker in here where I even did this fancy little Dutch door kind of a little flap in here in my journal, and I spent a lot of time. And I worked out every day from January for the entire year up until December 25th is when I stopped. I drew a single card each day. And then I color-coded the card, whether it was what suit it was. The yellows are representing suits, or pinks, or blues or greens, representing different suits. Major arcanas are just not colored boxes. They'll have a Roman numeral and then what the card was. Maybe you can see better over here. And then I also indicated whether this was the card of my month. You know, I did a monthly card, Wheel of the Year tarot spread, and if this was my card of the month, for instance, June would be the 9 of Arrows. And so if the 9 of Arrows showed up in June, I would put an asterisk. I did all this elaborate things. And what I was interested in looking for, first of all, I guess I was interested in how cards show up for me. And now as a learning tool, I want to say, I don't think this is a good way of learning by pulling one card a day, because unless you're just going to go through the deck and never shuffle the deck, you're going to get repeating cards. You're going to get cards that come up often, and I see that here so many times. And when it was a repeating card, I even indicated it was a repeating card. I put little marks beside it. And as a matter of fact, I had a Hermit card here show up. I think I counted when I was just looking to get this out and show you. I think I had it come up like something like 7 times in 1 month, the Hermit card. Which, I don't know if that was, that they might have said something about my month, but it didn't say a lot about my, it didn't help me to really learn anything about the deck, or really, I think if a Hermit card shows up 7 times in 1 month for you, you probably know what kind of a month you're having pretty much without having a hermit card tell you 7 times. So that just seemed like a little bit of information that might be interesting but not necessarily useful. Now, I also want to say, let me put this aside, I also want to say that I'm not a big fan of single card draws. I think I've said that before in here. Like, yes, here the Green Woman. Well, let me get a different card because I just showed that. Let me shuffle. The Green Woman, yes, drawing a single card, and a lot of people do this as a part of their practice, and I'm not criticizing, I'm just saying for me it's not so helpful. Drawing one card, here I have the Ace of Stones. Yeah, that's lovely. The Ace of Stones has something meaning behind it. I can read in the book that goes with this deck to see some more, maybe some insightful information. But what it might send some kind of a message, or it might give some kind of description to maybe my day or where I am, my energy right at the present in my life. But it's just a single idea. And tarot decks to me are something that tell you a story. There's a story. When you do a reading, it is telling you a story. It is like the difference between going on the bus and saying hello as you pass somebody you might know in a seat on the bus, and you say, "Oh, how you doing?" And they say, "Oh, I'm well," or you might even pose a question, "Oh, did you get the job?" "Yes, I did," they say as you walk past. It tells you a little bit of information. But if you happen to see there's an empty seat beside that person you might know on the bus and you sit down, you have a chance to find out some more information about that. Okay? What kind of information might you get? That's why we do more than one card. So therefore, we're looking at something like it's maybe a 3-card draw. I would say if I were going to try to use this as a tarot prompt, this, as for journaling, this does not really give me a lot of information to journal about, right? To talk about how this shows up in my life, this gives me a lot more to talk about. So I would say if you're going to use it for just to develop skills, or just to, maybe use it as a form of a diary where you're repeating your life, but you're doing it in terms of your tarot cards, the energies in your tarot, that's a real fun way to do it, okay? Now, another thing is, I don't really have, now just pulling 3 cards out at random, well, you can get some information, but if you're not asking anything in the cards, if I'm not putting, like, saying past, present, future, or this is something that's happening in my life and this caused it and this is an effect, or whatever, how we want to put a meaning on a card, if you don't actually define the cards, ask a question of the cards, it's really not a great learning experience for someone who is new to tarot. If you are an experienced reader, you can sort of, you can figure out what the energies are trying to say to you maybe a little better. If you're new to tarot, I would suggest, if you're going to do something like this, to assign meanings to each card so that you know what they're answering for you. What part of the question that you're asking are they addressing? Okay, so that's one use, just developing skills, or just looking for general readings and your general energies in your life, and then writing about them in your journal. That's a nice thing to do. Okay. Another thing you can use the second way you can use a tarot journal is to record spreads. Like, I have a lot of spreads, and I have posted a lot of spreads on my channel here. I have a lot of spreads. I have folders. I read professionally, so I have a folder for each card that I offer for others that I read for. I have a folder which shows the layout and what the cards mean, and so that I can go back and look, and I can say, and we can use this journaling experience to not just record the spread. Like, here I might have a spread, and I might say, well, here, this is in focus, and here's the as above, so below, behind, in front. This is past, present, future. This is subconscious and subconscious and unconscious, whatever. Here's a focal. When would I use this? When would I use that spread? What kind of day? Is it good with this kind of a deck? Is it better with another kind of a deck? Is this reading in shadow and light? Is this is it better for harvest time of the year? Is it better for the equinoxes when you're trying to get into balance? If you're wanting to read elements, you could say this represents the elements. These cards represent elements. What kind of a deck would you use, etc. So, and then we could journal on that. So that's a really good reference. It's using a tarot journaling as a bit of a reference book. Also, we could use for a third way, we could use recording insightful readings. When you do a reading and you really, really got some information out of the reading, we can do a lot of things. We can take the picture of a reading. I might even have one in here. Well, like for instance, here I had, just like I took a picture of my reading for the year. I have other ones in here too. Let me see if I did. This is a really old journal, so I'm not sure what I have in here, what I don't. But here's different kind of readings, what I got. I didn't take a picture, but I journaled about that. Here was my spread, a 9 card, and here what I got out of it for my reading, using the Nicola Ciccoli deck I put in here. I have, here's a fairy star tarot spread I have in here, which I liked, and I have notes about that to see if you're on a fairy path. I did a lot of things like that, so you can take a picture of it or you cannot. Here I have, again, I printed this out. This is about coming out of shadow, the lunatic spread, coming out of shadow with the Deviant Moon Tarot, and I wrote about that. I journaled about it. Now here I did it on my bullet journal, but I have in the past, and I know I showed you this, I had a journal like this that I started journaling about some of my the readings. These were 3 cards, and then I journaled about, I put in some of my favorite spreads and things like that. I put in some stuff from some workshops and just a lot of different things here. And I also use stuff about trying out different spreads. Okay, so this is really good. I think as a tool. I have another book I don't have in front of me, but I have another journal which I did. This was something I really, really loved. I liked to use, and this would be my 4th way of using a tarot journal, which be to identify patterns, and it's patterns both in my life and patterns in my dreams. And I really love that because I even told you sometimes I had a couple dreams years ago, and it was right before I did a video on this subject. I'm sure I did, but I had a couple dreams that were disturbing because I kept dreaming. I was having a lot of repeat dreams. For one, I had a lot of repeating the same. It was like my dreams were like reruns. Like I was watching reruns, and they were just my dreams. And I thought, well, how odd that was. That was just so dull. And I was actually very bored with my sleeping. I got very bored. And I all of a sudden did I had a dream. I did a tarot dream. I did a dream where I dreamt all of a sudden that the hippos, I had hippos. I was driving down a road and I went through I saw like a lot of bushes and, along the road, like crossing the road. Like the road was entering into a very, very thick area of very thick vegetation and things. And I actually drove through the vegetation, ended up in water. My car floated in the water, and around me in the water were hippos swimming. Hippos. I've never dreamed about hippos. I never even thought about hippos. That was kind of crazy. But they were floating and swimming all around me, and they were playing, and we were throwing things to them and playing with them and interacting with them. And I thought how odd that was. And I looked it up, what it meant to dream about hippos, and it was talking to me about my creativity. This need that I had, that my creativity had been lacking. So anyway, had a tarot reading at the same time. I did a tarot reading, which was showing that I was really not doing anything. I wasn't using my creativity. I was just going through the motions in my life. I wasn't challenging myself in any way, or trying to achieve goals that I had set for myself, etc. So I realized at the time that these two, the tarot reading and the dream, went really hand in hand, close hand in hand. And I had that experience about several other things at the same time. So I started to journal a little bit in my book. This is not this book, but another book, just like this. That's what I meant to say. Spiral. It was a little bigger. It was a Spiral Bound book, just to talk about how my dreams are reflecting my life, and I think they're very much reflective of your life. Okay, so that leads me to Anyway, what I want to say is, when I dream, I look for patterns. I also look for patterns in my tarot readings. If I keep getting, we all have that experience where we keep getting the same card over and over again. Like we pull it and here comes something. Maybe it's the Page of Arrows. This Page of Arrows is constantly coming up and showing up for me in my readings. Maybe over a period of days or months, or, not every reading, but you just keep seeing, there it is again, there it is again. Somehow, something like my Tower card kept showing up for me last year. It was stalking me pretty much last year, which was very annoying. I have to say, it was very annoying. Sometimes it could be a good thing. But we might want to track some of those things, and that's a really good prompt for a journal. Okay? But what I want to show you today is something absolutely new to me. I haven't done this, but I've been very curious about it for a long time. And that is about interpreting the relationship between dreams and astrology. What is the picture in the sky? What is happening with the planets in the sky? And I've been doing some research on it, and this is what I'm going to be starting to do in a journal. I'm going to start this kind of a thing. We're interested in, first of all, we would be interested in, is it a full moon, or maybe how phases the moon have something to do with your dreams. That could be interesting. But I think more interesting to me is the idea of your natal chart. And I just printed these out. These I really got these. I don't need to print them all out, but I just did because I thought this would be a good learning tool for anybody, if anybody was interested in this at one time. And I cannot find this article again. I found it on my phone, and then when I went to the website on my computer, this article is nowhere to be found. But it was something that was from Cosmopolitan magazine many years ago. I don't know where it is. But it was an article written by somebody that was explaining that, let me show you a book. You can get the book. If you have anything like this, if you have a diary or anything like this, it shows your astrological information, gives you information in the diary. A lot of us have these. We can look on the date, and we can see we spend only certain times. The moon spends certain times, days of the month, 2 or 3 days of each month, or each cycle, full moon cycle, new moon to full moon cycle, in each of the 12 houses of the zodiac. Okay, and so the moon travels through, Aries, then into Taurus, and then into Gemini, etc., until it gets through all 12. Okay. During each moon cycle from full to full again, next full moon, as the moon is orbiting the Earth, the moon passes through the 12 house positions of the zodiac in the sky. And it is believed, a lot of people believe, that might affect our dreams. It might have a big effect on our dreams. And I'm curious to see if it is. I'm curious to see what it is. But in order to do this kind of journaling, you need to begin with knowing what your moon, what is your moon? We talk about your sun sign, your moon sign, and your rising sign or ascendant. Where was the sun at the time of your birth? The moon at the time of your birth? What was the sign on the horizon when you were born, the time of your birth? So, and place. Mine's pretty easy. I've told you many times I'm a Cancer sun, moon, and rising, so I know very much that my moon was in Cancer. And these little charts that I printed out, they're very hard to read, so I put the prompts here, and I will give you the prompts. I will give you the houses. But the idea here is, if you look at a book like this, if you look like a book like this, which is this is just a calendar book, but it also has a lot of astrological information on the days. It will say here, like today is the 14th of August, and so any dream that we were in Cancer, the moon was in Cancer, in that place in the sky, the moon was in Cancer, and it is moving into Leo today, and it will be in Leo on Tuesday, and the beginning of Wednesday, but then it will be moving into Virgo Wednesday night, and where it will remain for a few days. What does that mean to us? Well, according to this chart, these charts, when the moon is in, right now the moon is going to be like tonight when I go to bed, the moon is in Leo. So I look at the moon in Leo. When the moon is in Leo, here we have, the moon for me in Leo is the 12th house, my 12th house, according to this chart. This chart has all the houses around the outside, and then it has all the signs of the zodiac representing where the moon was according to your natal chart. So my moon would have been, according to my natal chart, in the 12th house, which is Leo, okay? Which represents spirituality. You can't really see it, but that's the sign for this little, let me get a pencil. This little blue, this right here, that's a sign for Cancer. And, bye. That's a sign for Cancer, and this represents, for me, spirituality, okay? So if I have a dream tonight, or if I have a dream tomorrow night, it's very likely to have maybe something to do with a powerful, it tells you here, when the moon is in Leo, represents spirituality, and it says your dreams could be very powerful using this transit and can reveal some legitimate truths about yourself, maybe something that you don't know, because it's a spiritual dream. We'll just see. So we're going to see if anything happens to me tonight, or if I have any kind of an interesting dream. Let's say I have an interesting dream on Saturday. I might have a really crazy dream on Saturday, and here it's in Virgo, which is my 11th house. So this might be about some kind of a political cause or social cause that I wanted, something about that's disturbing me about this political climate or the social climate. I might be having a dream or something about humanity, something about my relationship to humanity. That dream might reflect that. Now, is this about is this about tarot, or is this about dreams? So what I would do with that information then is I would get up Sunday morning, if I did this on Saturday and I had this crazy, crazy dream, and I'm looking to say, well, what does that have to do about my position with humanity? I would get myself my cards, I would shuffle very well, and I would draw probably 3 cards. I have the King of Stones, I have the 5 of Vessels, and I have the 3 of Vessels. So there's 5 of Vessels and 3 of Vessels. These are both, this is 5 of Vessels is ecstasy in this deck, and 3 of Vessels is a joyful thing, so there's something joyful, and we can even see that the wolf of King of Stones, he's calling out, maybe for friends around him or whatever to come and help me do something that might help the world. Maybe there's some kind of a message there, okay? This is just a fun little exercise, but this is something I would then journal. I would write about where my moon was. My moon was in Virgo, what that had to do with it, the 3 cards I pulled, and try to do a little bit of journaling about that idea. Okay, some of these are crazy, but think about it this way. You don't really have these kind of dreams all the time. I mean, we don't always have dreams that we need to identify. We don't, first of all, remember a lot of our dreams, and some dreams are just crazy dreams. But every once in a while we get a dream and go, what in the world made me dream that? And that's why this is helpful. That's why the journal would be helpful. Why in the world did I dream such a crazy thing? Well, the first thing I would do is I would go to my calendar, say, what is today? Today is Saturday the 14th of October. Where was the moon? I would say, where was the moon? I would go to that chart. Where was the moon? Okay. And I would see what it says about that. I think I just looked and I think I just saw Libra. Did I just say Libra? Yes, I just saw Libra. So I would look and say, where in the world is Libra? What does Libra have to do for me? And I would go on here and I would find when the moon is in Libra. It's about career. It's about career. Is there something going on in the office or something? Or what's going on about that? What does that have to do with it for me? Okay. And I would draw 3 cards. Okay. I would shuffle. What are my dreams trying to tell me? Something about career, or something about my condition of working, or working on a project, or here's a page of arrows, a page of bows. The page and pages, we're seeing the beginnings of new projects, aren't we? New ideas or new projects. And here we see the Knight of Bows. Okay. What does that have to do with this? And journal about that. It's just like making a little prompt. Okay. So you don't need the charts to this. You don't need any of that. But you might need this information I have at the bottom here. What each house represents, what subject. First house, self. Second house is your possessions. Third house is your communication. Fourth is your home, creativity and romance, and your fifth, etc. I'm going to give you these little prompts, these little things, and I will put them down below in the description box. You can go and look if you're interested in making this kind of a journal. Okay. Now I wanted to show you one more thing before I go, because I'm not interested anymore in putting everything together in one bullet journal like that. That just made me crazy. I had so much stuff in here, and if I want to go back and look at it, it's really hard to find. So I'm moving on, and I think you remember that I even have some things here that might help. I think you remember when I showed you my little herbal grimoire that I made up. I bought all these little books, books. Some are grids and some are lines. So I bought a whole bunch of these. They're just the right size, and this is a grid. I have some that are lines that I might use. But at any rate, it's a good size, and I can devote one just to my dreams and my tarot, interpreting my dreams through tarot. And to help me out, I found some little stickers. I had some of these before, which I thought was going to be real fun. Here's the Rider-Waite. I thought this was going to be real fun, except they really don't have, I don't think, all of the symbols for Rider-Waite. I think some of them might be missing. And then they have all these extra ones in there. I like them or not, and some are kind of, I'm not real sure if I like them. But that was some, and I found another one. It was more tarot stickers. Different kind of, these are all cats. These all have cats on them, which is kind of interesting. If you like cats, you can do that. But they're stickers. They're stickers that you can use to, to put, so you don't have to draw the cards. If you want to see a pictorial reference of the cards in your journal, these are real easy to use. I also saw, I just recently got these, haven't used them yet. These are tarot stickers. They're a little smaller, but they have all of the major arcana, and cards for the elements, and all for the minor arcana. They're all in here. And there's, I don't know how many copies. There's 40 sheets, so I don't know how many of each one there would be. But it's enough to make quite a few. Oh, there's 12 sets, 12 complete sets. So that would be really handy to have. And then, of course, if you don't want to spend any money at all, there's this, which is what I did. What I did for my spread. I did this kind of a spread for my tarot spread for the year. Right, I pulled 3 cards, 3 cards, 3 cards. Took a picture of the whole spread and put it in here. I also took pictures of each of the 3 cards. I just laid them out, took a picture, and printed them out. So I'm ready when we get to the next month. I can put that in and I can journal about that. But we could do something like this: take a picture, especially if you have these little phone. It's real simple to do. It doesn't print out as well. This is still a little bit of work, but it's doable and it doesn't really cost money. These cost something. They don't cost very much money, but they cost something. And if you want to, I will put the link to these stickers down below in the description box if you want to try this. So that's just a little idea. I think journaling is a really good idea for tarot. I think tarot and journaling go together really, really well. If you're not interested in really doing spreads, journaling about tarot cards also makes a really good prompt. It can be a prompt for you for maybe meditation, or maybe just gaining some other kind of insights into, how that card might relate to you personally, whether it's on any given day or time. It's not that important, but how you relate to, for instance, the Ten of Bows. How do you see the Ten of Bows? How does that show up for you in your life? The Ten of Bows we see, of course, he's taking his responsibility very much. He's climbing up, and in different decks we see it depicted in different ways, but it's always he's not accepting any help, even if there's help around him. He's determined, or she's determined to fulfill this obligation, whatever this obligation is. It's turning out to be kind of a burden, but they're going to do it anyway. They're going to do it. They're going to finish, determined to finish, no matter how hard it might be. How does this show up for you? So that's a really good way to. It's a good prompt just for journaling, just or for meditation, or for like I said, just as a starting point for reading this energy, getting to know the energy, so that you recognize this energy when it presents itself to you in life. Okay. So whether you use it for, let's say, what do we say? To develop your skills, to identify maybe energies, how they're showing up to you, maybe record your spreads, some of the favorite spreads that you've had, or just record readings that you've had that you've really liked, really insightful readings that you learned a lot from, and you might even go back and revisit that later and read what you wrote about it when it happened to you first. Also, by using the stickers or some kind of a pictorial reference, you can see, look, I saw this again. Look, this card came up again. You're going to look up in your journal and you're going to see that right away. And I think that's important. I think that's an important thing to see. Okay. Also, to identify the patterns. I love the patterns, and that's when that happens, when we start to see repeats, or we start to see at certain times of the year, or with certain times when the moon is in this house of the zodiac. This is the kind of dreams. This is why I'm so particularly interested in this. I don't want to talk too much about it, but I just want to say I'm so particularly interested in it because I am somebody who has recurring dreams. I have recurring houses that I visit, that I dream about, that I live in this house. And it's not even a house. It's a house made of a combination of other places that I've lived in. I have people show up in the dream. I have dead people in my dreams. I have a lot of really bizarre kind of dreams. And I have some really embarrassing dreams that I'm not even sure what that is supposed to even mean. But it happens a lot, and they come up for me a lot of times. So when they come up for me a lot of times, I have to start paying attention to it. That's why I'm just looking at any possibility. And yes, I can just do a tarot card reading, and a tarot card reading can maybe help me, and it can help me a lot. But for me, I thought it would be even better to try to see if that is also connected somehow to astrology. Because I'm really fascinated by how these things work together. Okay. So anyway, I'd love to see if you try some of these, however you journal it, if you get some stickers, whatever. And again, I will put some information down below. I can show you where I got these if you're interested. I can put a link to these, and if you use my links, it helps me. But don't worry about it. Also, I will put the prompts not the promise, but the the subject that is attached to each house as the moon passes through it, what that represents for us in our lives, if it does represent anything. Okay, as always, I am Rebecca. Thank you so much for watching, and I wish you blessings.